Hi, you're listening to Abbacadabra Radio. This podcast is for my conscious creator friends, my manifesting besties. This is part stream of consciousness, part talking with people who love to talk about conscious creation, manifestation, spiritual things, anything in between. And it is my hope that through this podcast, I expand my own awareness and understanding of myself, and you guys do too. I am happy to have you guys here along for the ride. Hello, my conscious creator friends. Here we are back with yet another episode of Abbacadabra Radio. I'm Abby, your host, and I'm so happy you're here. I know it's been a minute since you've seen my face. Here we are with another vodcast, vlogcast, videocast. I don't know what they're called. Video podcast. It's been a couple weeks since I've released an episode. I do apologize for that. I just haven't had anything that I've wanted to talk about. I've been integrating and ushering out things, and a lot of what I've been moving in through and to and from is what I'm going to talk about today. So that's we're talking about ushering in new things, letting old things go. We are talking about manifestation. We're talking about things we always talk about. So I hope you guys are ready. Before we get started, as always, check out the website for the Blueprint 30-Day Manifestation Method. That is my signature method where you get 3 meditations, a morning meditation, midday meditation, evening meditation. The idea of the blueprint is to continuously go back to a scene multiple times a day in the feeling state of experiencing the scene. And the more you do that, the more likely you are to align with that reality, the more likely you are to align with that desire. I've had it work for me. I've had it work for other people. It can work for you too. Go check it out. I also have 3 hypnosises. I have a aligning with love hypnosis, aligning with money hypnosis, and an identity shifting hypnosis. There is a timeline shifting audio. There is a conscious creation workbook. There is the opening up to money masterclass. There's a lot of things there. So you can go to abbacahdabrapod and check those out now, but you don't have to. Watch the episode and go after. That works too. Let's get into it. So when it comes to consciously creating reality or creating reality in general, there needs to be room for movement. There needs to be room for things to actually come into your reality, like energetically and sometimes physically. You'll hear sometimes people will give advice for if you want to manifest a partner to clean out your closet or to make sure that you're not sleeping with clothes on the other side of your bed. And the idea is that you will be making space for your future partner, making space for someone else to come into your world. And that is a very good tip for sure. And it's important to remember that sometimes old energy gets stagnant and needs to go. Sometimes old ideas, sometimes it's relationships, sometimes it's work, sometimes it's your car. So when things need to go, they're going to go. And for me, over the last few weeks, I've had a lot of things move out of my reality. Relationships, material things, ideas, mindsets, things that I thought I wanted that now I don't want, so many different things. I feel like a different person than I was early April. The eclipse and Mercury retrograde energy really threw me for a loop, but not in a bad way. I really do feel like I have 2 feet on the ground for the first time in quite a few years, to be completely honest. But in that was some letting go. In that was some letting things that don't mesh anymore leave. Because this happens, especially when you're in the conscious creation world, especially when you start becoming aware of your patterns and how you're showing up. And when you start shifting how you're showing up, when you do that consistently enough, your reality is going to catch up to you, and things that don't align are going to go. And that's not the universe testing you, that's you testing you. If you feel like you need to hang on to those people, hang on to that thing, hang on to that idea, maybe you're not ready to let it go yet. Maybe you're not ready to move into that new version of you that has something else or is experiencing something else. And that's not anything to judge yourself on. That's not anything to beat yourself up over. It's absolutely fine if that's happening, but just be aware that when you start really working at this stuff, when you do the blueprint, when you do a timeline shift, when you usher in a new way of being, when you work on your self-concept, more often than not, something in your reality is going to go. And sometimes it feels like a lot of different things. And when that happens, it feels like the rug is being taken out from under you, and it feels scary, it feels shaky, and it feels like you're not on solid ground. I get that. Please remember that when that happens, it's not permanent. And this is where you need to have that blind faith in, I am going to be fine. This is supposed to happen. And it's also important to remember, as far as people go, as far as situations go, as far as anything goes, if it's been in your life once, it can be in your life again. But maybe in this season, in this time, in this place where you're at, maybe it's just not meshing now. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that those things have to be gone forever. Like, there are people who manifest millions of dollars over and over and over again because they lose it and then they get it again, and they lose it and then they manifest it again, and then they lose it and they attract it again, because if you do it once, you can do it again. I don't know why I had to use that as an example, but I did. So like I said, you need to have that blind faith in yourself and in your reality. And this blind faith is something that I've noticed from the people I talk to, from the people I've studied, people who are good at manifesting, people who are like really in this world, they understand that blind faith. They understand their power. They understand their place. They understand that they are just an aspect of consciousness experiencing reality. So nothing's that deep and nothing's that bad and nothing's that detrimental, even though I do know sometimes it does feel that way. And they have a blind faith that everything's just going to work out for them, that they're going to be taken care of, that things are going to just come up roses for them in the end, in some way. And when I look back on things, some of the darkest moments of my life, you've heard me talk about this before, there have been moments that I pushed so hard against in my reality when they were occurring. And when I look back at it, I realize, wow, that had to happen because that brought me here. That let me learn this skill. That connected me to that person. That brought me over here. That taught me this. And those moments that seemed so bad that I fought so hard against were some of the most pivotal moments in my life that I do believe now had to happen. But in the moment, I was like, no. If I had that blind faith, that blind trust, that blind, I know I'm going to be taken care of, I probably would have moved through it quicker. Because what happens when you push hard against something, you just keep it around. You just keep it there because you're focusing on it. You're saying, this thing is annoying me and I hate it over and over and over again, but you're just continuously putting your attention on it. So reality's just continuously giving it to you because reality's just regurgitating what you are focusing on. It's just a big mirror that's saying, hey, this thing that you've been thinking about, boom, here it is, you know? So to start working on strengthening your self-concept and your faith in reality and your faith in yourself, there are some things you can do. There are like loads of subliminal messaging things that you can download, that you can find on YouTube. You can order custom ones through me. I make my own because I never necessarily know for sure what someone is putting in the subliminal things, so I make my own. I make my own and it works for me. But in the past, I have done some that I haven't made on my own and those have been fine. But sometimes I get sketched out by like just doing a random one. But do a random one if it feels good to you. That's totally fine. Whatever works for you, works for you. So you could do subliminal audios, you could do hypnosis, you could do EFT tapping, you can work on affirmations, mirror work, you could journal, and just start scripting, talking about, thinking about, focusing on how you are taken care of. You can go as simple as like when you wake up in the morning, the sun is up, I'm taken care of and the sun is up. I'm taken care of and there's air in my lungs. Go so basic for things that you take for granted every single day that are still amazing things to have happen that we take for granted. And when you start normalizing these mundane everyday things as being taken care of, you're going to align with always being taken care of more and more and more and more and more. So then when you go through those contrasting situations, you can think, oh, no, it's gonna be fine. It's uncomfortable right now. It's not ideal right now. I don't like going through it right now, but I'm going to be taken care of because everything always comes up me. Everything is always going to work out for me because that's the world I live in. When you make that decision, when you live in that world, that's what you're going to see. That's what you're going to experience. I know I talk about traffic a lot. I'm going to talk about traffic again. You guys know that when I say if you got stuck behind a car that's slow, it's benefiting you. I say that enough now that really is my default, response. So if a car cuts me off, generally speaking, maybe not every time, maybe 8.5 to 9 times out of 10, when that happens, I will go, I'm just going too fast, or it's saving me from something, or thank you for, maybe even there are moments where I was kind of checked out a little bit driving and someone cutting me off brought me back into my full awareness and focus, and that was what I needed in the time. That's become my default. That's become my automatic thought when I'm stuck behind someone slow, when I hit traffic. it's benefiting me. It's only benefiting me. It's not trying to piss me off. It's not trying to hurt me. And there are days where I know I attract a slow person in front of me. I know that there are days when I do that. I can fully understand and see where my mind was going earlier in the day and understand why that happened. I know the feeling. I get it. Again, I know traffic is such a silly example to some people, but it happens to everybody. So that's why I love to use it. And traffic does not care. Traffic is like the best example of your vibrational state, I feel like. I use that example though to show you guys how saying something repetitively enough, how working on something repetitively enough, how believing into something can be as simple as like, I don't say that all the time about cars and traffic. I just say it a lot on my podcast. I just say it a lot in like a TikTok video. That's been enough for me to make that, usher that in as my new way of being, as my new baseline belief. And it's only benefited me because I live in a reality that supports me. I live in a reality that is on my side. And how good does that feel? I want you guys to take a minute to take a deep breath. Hear these words. Feel these words. Maybe say them out loud. Maybe say them in your mind. I live in a reality that only supports me in the best ways. And how does that feel? For me, I feel really open. I like felt my heart just, and I felt support on my back, which I know always means I'm in alignment with that idea. Some people might feel like they're pushing up against it. Some people might think it's funny. Some people might not be able to say it at all. And that's okay. This is just the check-in for where you might be with the idea of things working out for you, of being in a supportive reality. And then you can take steps from there. Maybe you can work on what are things that you do believe that are not rooted in support, and are there ways that you can start shifting that idea, shifting that mindset? Maybe you can start becoming a little more aware when you're talking about things that aren't supporting you, and like gently stop yourself, gently pivot to another idea, pivot to something completely unrelated to this thing that is making you annoyed, making you feel unsupported, making you feel bad. There's loads of things that you could do to start shifting that mindset. But I am telling you, as soon as you start shifting that mindset to things working in your favor, to things supporting you, to living in a life that loves to give you life and experiences and fun, that's what you're gonna see more. And the more you talk about it with other people, that's what you're gonna see more. And the more you think about it, that's what you're gonna see more. The more you write about it, that's what you're gonna see more. It is. And your baseline thoughts are gonna start to change. And as this happens, you might see old things have to usher out because you need to make room for the new things to come in. Every single time that something has left my life, or someone has left my life, somebody better has taken their place. Something better has taken its place. A new opportunity has come up, or maybe something that was taking a lot of my time before that I don't do anymore. Now I have a new hobby. Now I have a new responsibility. Now I have a new opportunity, whatever it is. And you can see, oh, that's why that thing had to shift that way, or that's why that thing had to shift out for now, because it made room for this thing. It made room for this idea. It made room for this person, whatever it is. You get it? I think you do. I think you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. That's where I'm going to leave this. Yeah, that feels good. I'm happy I got to do another episode, like not live, but live with my face on the screen. So check out the website if you want any of the goodies on there. You can email me for anything else you might need at abbacahdabrapod@gmail.com. That is here for you guys. And until next time, this is Abby signing off.